Hi everyone, today I am going to make paper. I had to go to the store and buy a blender to make paper. This will be designated to only paper. It's just a cheap $14 blender, and I will write paper on it like this. Now I have lots of different types of paper to put in here, and just, you know, random pieces that I'm just going to roughly tear up here. I have bins and bins and bins full of paper of where I've made albums. I've done paper crafts. One reason why I didn't want to get into paper crafts is because of the amount of scrap paper that is left over. What do you do with it? I mean, there's eventually going to be quite a bit that you have to throw away because it's just not usable. I'm sure that this is actually wasting if I was going to throw that away. However, I want to make my own paper, and this one that I want to do first, I want to have blues and purple background, or not background, but colors in it. I don't know how much it's going to retain these colors. I do not know where that went. There it is. So I'm just experimenting at this point. I have a lot of other packaging stuff that I get that I have started saving because I know we could use that in some way, shape, or form. And that is just like food packaging. Most of the time, if it goes into the refrigerator, it will have a plastic coating on it that you would need to, it's not usable really, but if you were going to use it, you'd have to peel off the plastic coating. This has just got a shiny, waxy surface. No big deal. But if you were going to put some kind of waxy coated, not waxy, plastic coated paper in here, I think you would have a problem. I don't know because I've never made it before, so that's kind of giving advice of where my knowledge is not really that in depth. So I'm just, these are just scrap pieces of paper, even receipts. Don't know how that's going to work out. We'll find out. And other little scrap pieces. This is just what I gathered, I guess today, you would call it today. And what you need to do is fill this up full of water now. Okay. I've already put water in here, and make sure, and I put hot water in there. Not like boiling hot or anything, but it's definitely on the warm side. And just to, you know, get it to soak in there really, really well. It's not a hot liquid, definitely warm though. Start off slow with this. Never push full force on it, you will regret it. So anyway, we want to, I don't know if you guys are actually going to be able to see. Go slow. Always slow. Oh yeah, that's really good. Oh, that's cool looking. You definitely want it pulpy so that when you're pouring it, it can definitely stick together. And this is pretty interesting. I'm just going slow to see how it's very interesting. It's very pulpy. So you can see that it's not completely liquefied, but definitely has, there's like still bits in there. That's an actual bit that is not chopped up that well. I would like to have that a little thinner. I'm going to pour more water in here to be able to get it to move more, to make sure that that gets all chopped up nice and small. I'm going to say about right there. Don't want to fill it up too high. We're going to pulse it again slowly. Okay, let's see if that got in. I see a few pieces in there as I was pulsating it, and that's why I went a little longer with it. Oh yeah, that's better. That's a lot better. Yeah, that's good stuff. Good and pulpy. So now our thing is, I'm going to maneuver some of my stuff on my table and I'll be right back. Okay, this is just a Sterilite tub. It is, the dimensions are 16.5 by 13 by 6 5/8. And there it is. And this is just so that it's deep enough to where I can put my decal in and have it in there, pour my liquid in, and this would not be overflowing all over the table and everything. You can do this in a sink. I do not have my camera over the sink. Some people have a better setup to where they can do something like this in their sink. My sink's just a huge silver tub. It doesn't have dividers in it, and it's a pain in the ass. Anyway, so it floats, so that's good. That's what we want here. We need it to float. And you just want to take and pour your mixture in. That sounds really disgusting. That is forever so nasty sounding. Okay. But I don't know how much to pour in. Like I said, all I'm doing here is experimenting. And spread it around. Maybe I need a little more. Yeah, that is not the best sound in the world. Kind of irks you out. Okay. I don't mind it being a thick piece of paper, but I definitely want it somewhat even. I don't know of how much. I should drain this. I can definitely tell it's still sopping wet. Seems like when I touch it, it comes out of the screen better. So now it's just a big pulpy thing. It's still sopping wet. Okay, okay, I have a really big towel here, and all I'm going to do is, since this side's very textured, I don't know if I want that texture on there, so I'm just going to lay this out like this, and I'm going to put a screen down, and this is just some of the screen, okay, that I was doing the decal with. That's the video before this one, and all it is just home screen that you would be repairing your windows with, straight from Walmart. Okay, so still very sopping wet, as you can see. It's still bringing out a lot of water. I almost want to kind of push that out a little more to where it's not so much water there, because there's a lot of water in here. I don't know if this is cool or not for that. I don't know if this is a good thing. I've seen some people use a sponge to kind of soak the water up. Let me grab a sponge and see if that kind of works. Okay, so I guess kind of, hopefully it doesn't pick it up. Good. All right. Yeah, it soaks up a lot of it. That's good. All right. Just squeeze it back in the... I've seen lots of people make paper different ways, and I don't know if I'm doing it like anybody else out here on the internet, but I know for sure you can look up DIY paper and find many different ways that people have done it. I want to do all sorts of different ways to see which one best suits me, because I do hear that some people prefer certain ways that they do it. Maybe they've kind of did a hybrid of what they've seen on the internet or whatever they've learned or whatever, and they've come through and said, you know, this step was not necessary, or this step was very hard, so I did it this way. This was easier, you know, whatever. And I think that's kind of what I'm doing now. Everybody says, you would think this would stick to the screen, but it doesn't. Okay. Let's find out if it does or not. I don't know if this is going to come off cleanly. I think honestly I want to push it more and get more liquid out, like actual pressure from here. I'm thinking that that would really probably get my fat head in there. Would really help compress it down and get it to stay on one sheet. And feel some of the liquid coming through. So let's find out if this will actually come off. Oh wow, you can actually see it come off. That's cool. Let's see if I can get that to actually fall out. It's almost there. Yeah, this edge right here is not letting go. There we go. All right, so that is my first sheet. I love the way the edges are. That's awesome. Let me grab a HO2. Not that screen. This one. And push the bejesus life out of it until I feel like I've gotten a lot of water out of it. And then we'll set it off to the edge to dry. I want this to look extremely homemade. Oh, that's awesome. You can see all the little bits in there. Look at that. That is awesome. You can see all different colors of the brown and the blue and the white all in there. That's what I wanted. I told my coworker, she said, "What are you going to do this weekend?" I said, "I'm going to go make paper." She was like, "What?" "Why? You can buy paper, you know." It's like, "I know. I'm going to go make paper. I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to make it." Another option I wanted to, if you cannot find this, you know, a frame and make a decal, there are other things that I have bought, and I'm going to try them out here in just a second to see if they work. And that is these. These are splatter screens. You get two at Walmart. I think they're like $7 or something. I'm not really sure, honestly. But these have a screen in them, and the screen is super fine. So, in the whole aspect, you know, wouldn't this work just as good as this would? Because if somebody doesn't want to make this, they can go out and buy this. The only thing is, you're not going to have that lip right there to help hold your pulp in. It's where you can move it around and stuff. It's going to be more of a, you pour it on this screen and it's going to drain through as you're pouring it, and you're going to have to control it better yourself of where you want it. But also you can make round paper here, you know, stuff like that. And so I'm going to fill up my tub in just a second, come back, and I'll have this set up to do this one. Okay, I have both here. One good thing is If you can find one that's bigger than the bucket you're pouring into, that's perfect, because you can rest this on here, let go, and let your hands be involved with your project instead of holding this one over here and pouring with another one. That could get a little awkward. Accident prone people might not want to do that. Just saying. And so what I'm going to do on the first one is I'm just going to put this one down. I want to do something different with this one. So I'm just going to take this, kind of give, where is my spoon? Okay. Give my little pulp a stir so that it's suspended. Evenly. I'm sure it settled quite a bit while I was busy with that other one. I'm not going to hook up the blender to stir around pulpy juice. So just pour it on there. Let's see how it goes. I guess you can take your little spatula or whatever you have. And just, you know, it's not running out of here as fast, but whenever I took my hand and touched the bottom of that other screen, it really came through quicker. And that's exactly what this one's doing. It just needs a little finagling to get through because it's tiny screen. Water tension and everything. So I'm going to kind of spread it around here. I'm going to just let that drain off a little better. So I'm going to push it down. Ah, that's pretty good. Yeah, definitely the one with the frame, you can kind of, it's a little different than this one. You definitely don't have control over the edges unless if you had something like a mold on here would work. You know, I just don't have a mold this big. I definitely have molds that are big enough for large pieces of paper to be cut out, but or polymer clay to be cut out, but not anything for molding paper. I guess we can kind of do that sponge thing at this point and push some of the water out or soak it up, whatever the case may be. Man, that sponge is the way to go, I'm telling you. Get my thing on the edge over there. Yeah, it's a little harder to deal with the edges on something like this, but it is possible to do it this way. And that's mainly what I'm concerned about, is if you had this in a pinch, could you make paper? If you didn't have access to make a decal, could you make paper with this? So far it looks like yes, you can. I don't want to cut any of this part out because I want you to see, if anything, if it starts pulling away from the screen at a certain point really bad to where you can't keep it down, you know, something of that sort. I will say that pushing on the screen like this almost gives me the feeling like it could possibly pop out of this frame. It's not the strongest, it's not made for anything like this, so, you know, I wouldn't go on their customer review saying you can't make paper with it. Well, who gives a shit? You know, it's a splatter screen. There, that's a little better. You can do that. Okay. I'm going to go away and come right back. Okay, it's set up for removing the paper. Let's find out how easy it is to remove from the screen. Flip it over, put it down. It is very sopping wet. Let me pull some more water out of it. If it feels like it doesn't let go, kind of press it with the towel to pull as much water out as you can. Okay. Let's see if it pulls away like the other one did on the other screen. I can tell you right now, no, not really. There's some separation. Okay, here we go. Now it's releasing. Alright. We have some leftover bits on here. You can just rub them, get them off, put them back in your blender. You know, you can do many pours out of just one. So there's another one. And it has the same blue comparison as the last one. And I'm going to put a screen over this one and push the dickens out of it. And now I'm just laying these on top of my washing machine right now. You can store these away separately to dry, or what you can do is I have a embossing heat tool that you can dry them with, hair dryer, whatever. You can let them dry on their own just fine, which is what I'm going to do. I have heard that if you lay them on the screens to dry on their own, they tend to stay flatter that way. But in any case, no matter what, after you get done doing this point and it's all wrinkly and everything, you can easily take a clothing iron and just iron that flat. That's not a an unforeseeable thing to do. I'll be right back. Okay, and this is the last way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to use this screen and I'm going to put one of these over it, seeing if this makes any difference. If possible, it'd be easier to maneuver off of this screen. If it'd be easier just to squeeze out water and then go to the next step without even having to remove it from a screen or whatever. Just trying to see what other ways make this easier. What steps could you do to make this a quick process? Did I see just a huge piece of paper in there? Yes, I did. There is a big chunk of paper in there. Paper looks like it's not even. Okay, like this right here paper. I don't know how this got in there, but I guarantee you I already know what that is. This is parchment paper. I don't know how they got in there. This is from where I was, I think, baking clay. I don't know how it got into the paper stash. I guess me not thinking anything about paper, you know, the separations of paper, and I just threw it in there. Take that out. That's not good. That didn't even blend up. Okay. All it did was wrap around the blades. Okay, now put my spoon down and pour this sucker over there. Push it this way so that when I push it out it doesn't get all thin on the edges again. See if that can help. See? That's an irritation right there. But you know, I can fix it. Just like putty. Now, making sure all the water, yeah, it drained out of it better that way. That's a plus. Finagling to get it to drain sometimes can, if that bothers you, do this way. I will be right back again. Okay, now all we would need to do from here is just to remove it from the screen. Now your screen's all cool, I guess, all good, whatever. Then you have another screen put on top of it. And then at this point, you can use this to get your water out. Yeah, this sponge is a crucial step. You can feel how much water is soaking up. You have to bring it out every couple of presses. Okay. And just to see how it is, still needs to be squeezed out some more. Put your screen back on. Another dry area. I'm trying to use a new dry area of the towel as I'm doing this so that I'm just not partially pulling up water and then sometimes pulling up a lot. I want a new fresh area that hasn't been soaked with water yet. Yeah, I can already tell that's a lot better. Yeah. I mean, that's good. Definitely good. Okay. So, that's how we're going to do it. And I will be back here to show you a dried piece. Probably going to put one in the oven for about an hour and see if it'll, you know, if it'll take as much of the moisture out as possible. I'm trying to use only the tools that you would have at home. Not everybody has a heat tool. Not everybody has a clothing iron nowadays. So most of y'all would have an oven or a toaster oven or something. I'm just going to put it on 100 degrees and just let it heat it out and see if that makes a difference. And I'll come back on here and tell you how long it took to get it to that point. So I'll see you guys in just, well, for y'all it'd be a second. For me it'd probably be hours. Bye. I'm going to make some more paper, and I wanted to share of how I keep, or which paper I keep, how I keep it, whatever. Let me make sure nothing's on top here that shows addresses or anything. Okay. I have just shredded up paper in here. This was paper that was used for, like right in here, this is something that chopsticks come in. This is one of my scrapbooks that I messed up on, so I just put it in here to cut and or to use for paper. So there's a yogurt box. This was a strawberry yogurt little thing. As long as it doesn't have a plastic coating over the printed top, it can be used. Just mail stuff, and these are paper napkins. Some more areas of, actually this was this, and so anyway, I just threw it in here to be shredded up. This is all little hole punch thingamajiggies and little cut up parts of the scrapbooking that, you know, whatever, just lots of paper, lots of different type of paper. So what I'll do is I'll just stuff some of that paper in here and blend it up. But what I'm really interested in doing is getting as many different colored pieces in here as possible, because I want to see what kind of a mixture it will make. I want to get some of the napkins in there because that's really going to pulp down really fine quick. I want to get some of the white paper in there. I want to get some of the notebook paper in there, some of the cardstock in there, some of this in there. Just seeing what everything kind of jumbled up as will make. Here's some black cardstock. Here's some other just paper I was fiddling with. Wasn't even anything I made. I was just kind of like whenever, if I am bored and if I have a piece of paper in front of me, and you can see this all over my desk, especially if I'm on the phone with someone and we're discussing something that takes an extensive amount of thought with me, I will sit down and just start drawing and sketching out eyes, and it's always the eye, you know, of this side. And I mean, this is just a fast sketch, but you know, I will literally, you know, bring down the whole eye, and you know, and I will even, you know, give it eyelashes and the whole 9 yards. You know, I mean, it would, I'll just all over the place. My desk, you can see eyeballs sketched out, and it's always this side of the eye. That's the strangest thing, but that's a little habit of mine that I have. And so, you know, paper like that can be shredded up. But I'm really wanting to see what these type of packages, that type of paper does. See how it breaks up. See how it gives an effect. You know, what does it look like? How well does it break down? I'm going to put not hot water. It's not exactly hot water. It's extremely warm water in this to help soak it through the paper quicker and faster, because some of it is cardstock, and doing that, if it's warmer, it tends to open the pores up quicker, soak it in quicker, and so I can shred it up faster and easier. Even things like this, I want to see how well these break up. You know, these are just little paper things. I want to see if I can reuse this type of paper. There's no plastic coating on it, so to speak. I mean, it's all still paper. We'll find out. We'll just, you know, rip this up a little bit and put it in there and see how it happens. If it's a bad thing, not a big deal. Strain it out and throw it away. So, let me go grab, and I have that other paper drying in the oven right now. And that video will be up before this one. Let's see. Oh, here's some tissue paper. Let's see what. I think this one had the extensive amount of tissue paper in it. We'll grab some of that and put it in there. That's very colorful. This is all very finely shredded up paper. So, out of sheer boredom, I cut that up very, very fine one day. And of course, it's just to see if cutting it up that fine is actually better, you know. Again, I use a separate blender for this. I do not use my food blender. I do not think it's a good idea to use your food blender for your paper blender. Okay, now, oh wow, the whole table moved. Hold on. There we go. Okay, now the key to this is, I don't even wash this out. It's just paper. I make sure that all the water is out and it's left open to dry. But after that, it's just, I mean, all this is just paper. It's just going to be put back into paper. Unless if I was controlling the color that I'm getting, which I am not controlling that at this point. There's no need to separate, clean extensively, and all that jazz. I think this is good enough. So let's blend this up and see how this, well, I don't know if it's plastic coated, but I think it's definitely wax coated paper. Let's see how. Pulse slowly. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to put a screen over this. We're going to do this way again. That way we can just pour it on here. Oh, this looks severely unpleasant, but that's okay. Don't really care. There's many things that's going to happen with this paper, so will not be. It looks like puke now. Brown paper, you know, so. See, like this right here chunk didn't get. Maybe if you put less paper in, which I'm not known to, you know, be the most easiest hand out there. I tend to go hard and heavy with whether it's like doing polymer clay or scoring paper or pouring paper. At this, as I just found out today, I tend to be a heavy hand. I'm going to take that chunk right out of there also. Some of these chunks did not get blended up as well as I would want them to. Yeah, less paper, more water would probably be your best friend. I can totally tell that using a cheaper blender for this cheaper blender for this is, you know, blender smoking. I definitely go hard on the blender too, so plain and simple. Don't expect your blender to hold up very well. Evidently I'm pretty hard on blenders too. Okay, I'm going to squeeze more water out of it. Oh, that's a lovely pea color, like a bad kidney failure color. Damn! Okay. I'll be right back. Okay, and at this time, all I'm going to do is take this and flip it over here. It's off of the screen and onto here. So now I'm going to squeeze water out of it as much as I can. I'm going to take that screen off to squeeze water out of it because I can kind of tell more when I'm pushing on it how it's going to end up. I don't mind the paper being thick, but this really, I'm hoping it dries a different color, because this is exactly the color of puke. See, like this little piece of paper right here just did not get blended up that well. I'm just going to pick that out and put that back in there, just to kind of control a little bit of what the paper is going to look like. You know, at this point, all I can hope for is you better dry either a lot darker or a lot lighter. I'm thinking a lot lighter, hopefully more towards, because this really looks like throw up. So it looks like I am playing with throw up here. So now more white colors is probably the way to go, because I'm really hoping for a change in the color on this bad boy, because that's just not pleasant. Looks like puke, dudes. I'm telling you. Looks like puke, people. Man, I'm telling you. I'm going to have to hope and pray for this one. I mean, if you want fake vomit, that is it. I'm going to go put this in my oven. I'm not really sure about the rest of this. I'm kind of wondering. You know. Yeah, I don't know. Man, I don't know. Wonder if I can hear the helicopters outside and everything, so that tells me they're looking for somebody around in here. Somebody must have robbed somebody or did something. It's never a good thing when you hear helicopters above you. Anyway, let me go take care of this.